That is Kelsea Ballerini performing the song Baggage off of her new album Patterns in front of a big crowd on our Today Plaza on Friday morning. Kelce's New York City takeover continues on Tuesday night when she plays her first ever headlining show at a sold-out Madison Square Garden. The Tennessee native was 21 years old when her debut 2015 album, The First Time, spun off 3 #1 songs and eventually went platinum, earning her the Academy of Country Music Award for New Female Vocalist of the Year. Nearly a decade and 4 Grammy nominations later, Ballerini's talent for writing a song and delivering it on stage has made her one of the biggest stars in Nashville and beyond, even landing her a prominent gig as a coach on the next season of The Voice. Kelsea and I got together in New York the other day for a Sunday sit-down.
I do feel like there's such a magic to this city, and I would love to just come up here and write for a month.
31-year-old Kelsea Ballerini has been writing songs for nearly 20 years.
You're never gonna be a man, Peter Pan.
But even with 5 albums now under her belt,
You're gonna love me, boy. Love me like you made it.
the act of pouring out your heart to the public remains a little terrifying.
What's the first day of the process like? In other words, time for an album.
No.
Where do you begin?
Just fetal position. No, I'm kidding.
Ballerini's latest album is called Patterns.
This ain't my first rodeo.
What's different and unique about this experience, and how did it affect the product in Patterns?
That's a great question. I think I'm really interested in womanhood and growing up. I think that's been a big theme in my life and like my personal kind of findings and growing up the last few years. Certainly a pattern of this album.
Very nice.
There is this underlying tone of maternal feelings and this warmth and this safety and this camaraderie. And I think for me, finding that and really solidifying that in my personal life, I did want it to reflect in the record.
Sorry, Mom, I smelled like cigarettes in my eyes.
What did you want to say to your mom in that song?
I think one of the most beautiful things that's happened the last few years is the relationship with my mom, going from mother to daughter to woman. We're in this beautiful phase of life where I'm able to be like, hey, listen, I'm
Only child in Knoxville, Tennessee.
From my hometown.
She wrote her first song at 12. Around the same time, her parents divorced.
I took it really hard. I love both my parents so much, but it was a rocky couple of years. And I went to the guitar, thank God. I couldn't play at all, and still I'm not great, and I can admit that, but I felt so much solace and refuge in being able to have all these big feelings about my life as a 13-year-old and how it was changing and evolving and all these things. It's the truest love of my life, it really is.
Ballerini's mother recognized that passion, and the pair moved together to Music City.
So you get to Nashville, you're 15 years old. What's it like for an aspiring teenage musician in Nashville? What does that even look like?
Ooh, I was winging it, let me tell you. My first ever experience, it was it was at an independent label that does not exist anymore. And I walked in and I played a song that I had written by myself. And he looked at me and he said, well, there's already a Taylor Swift.
But Swift herself saw something early on, stunning Ballerini by posting about her first album in 2015 and becoming a mentor during her rise.
I remember I asked her, I was like, you know, I'm a girl on an independent label, so this is proving to be a little difficult for me. And she was like, you have to become undeniable. Whatever that means to you, whatever that looks like for you, then no one can tell you no, because what is no? You just pivot.
Right.
Pivot.
Right.
You know?
So Ballerini set out to become undeniable. She got there last year with the deeply personal Rolling Up the Welcome Mat, detailing her divorce from Australian country artist Morgan Evans.
Will you blindsided, or will you just blind?
I was gonna write about my life at that point regardless, and I just felt like that perspective on a woman in country music, in the South, whatever, talking about divorce, I hadn't heard exactly yet. And I just wanted to put it out just in case anyone found it, needed it. And then it changed my life.
The collection of songs came out just as Ballerini began a relationship with actor Chase Stokes.
And I remember I sent that EP to him and I just said, hey, you're gonna ask eventually, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give this to you. And he lifted that record up and supported it and stood side stage the whole time. And I'm also really proud of the way that I was able to write about that and celebrate the moments that could have gone one way, but we fixed patterns and we did it together.
When you're playing home in a penthouse, baby.
That whole record and body of music, it was such a gift. I was watching all these artists catch the wave, and I felt like I was on the board for a long time. And I was wondering if I would ever catch a wave like that, like one that would really help me shift out of kind of the puberty phase, as I call it. I feel like that record was the first wave that I really, really caught.
But I miss me more.
Ballerini is riding that wave all the way to Madison Square Garden, selling out the world's most famous arena.
You're playing the Garden,
It's
and
the
it's already
Garden.
sold out.
It's a big girl show.
Yeah.
But I haven't skipped any steps. And I think for me now, being in a place where, like, is it still scary? Uh-huh. Yep, me backstage will not be cute. I will be like, finding a bucket. But I think for me, I bet on myself now. I bet on myself. I believe that if there's ever a time for me to make that jump, it's now.
You know what I see is hot dogs. And it's a great day to be alive. Are you gonna do it?
Should we do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is how you prep for Madison Square Garden. Really good.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Oh yeah, they're so good.
Cheers, Kelsey. To patterns.
To patterns and to New York City hot dogs.
It's over.
It was a good New York street dog. Kelsey's new album, Patterns, is streaming now wherever you get your music, and you can catch her on that national arena tour beginning in January. Our thanks to the Portrait Bar at the Fifth Avenue Hotel in New York for hosting our conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to the Sunday Sit Down podcast to hear the full extended interview with Kelsea Ballerini.